Aloha.
Aloha, hey Jen.
Hey, Sherry. How are you?
Oh my God, I have been busy as a bee. I've been traveling all week. I just got back yesterday and had to come right into work at Siesta Key. And I'm telling you, but it's been worth it. I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. I love my job. I love what I'm doing. But I just got to make sure I keep my time in order because I never want to miss our tough talks.
I know it's so important. It's so important. So, for those of you that do not know who we are, I am Jen.
And I am Sherry.
And we are here to deliver some Tough Talk 911.
Because it's an emergency.
We are here to talk about
what you don't want to say.
So I am so glad to be back here with you, Sherry. And for those of you who don't know, when we finish our show, we don't talk to each other for the rest of the week. So this is our time together, and it just makes everything really genuine. So I love that.
I know, but I do miss talking to you, but you're so busy too. I mean,
That's true.
Yes. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little feedback there. I'm trying to, there you go. Okay, we're straight now. But I said, yeah, our jobs are it's just not the jobs that we have, we just don't have the time to talk in a week. We're busy.
Well, and it doesn't help that we are several hours apart. We're 6 hours apart and then our time zone too. So
that's right. That's right. Because
I'm available, you're not available, I'm still sleeping, things like that.
So Jen, I got to talk about my shirt right quick. Everybody see my New York shirt? New York, New York. And I got my little New York background. So let me tell you why I have this New York on today. I tried to expand my business into New York last year, and we actually did expand into New York, my real estate company. But right when we went there, had our celebration in Times Square, went to see Tina Turner when she was on the show when it was on Broadway. And right after that, that's when COVID hit and they shut New York down. So I haven't had an opportunity to go back into New York yet, but I had a client that came in today from New York wanting to build a beach house. And when I saw her, when she came in, she started talking about New York. I said, that's where I want to put on my tough talk today, because I'm going to pray that I can soon go back into New York. But I understand that they're still shut down, so they can still got a quarantine for those 14 days if you don't have that shot. So, but anyway, I wanted to just shout out to New York City.
Hey, New York.
Say anybody in New York. I'm just excited about New York City. I'm just excited about all of this finally, hopefully being over soon. And we have a chance to finally meet in person.
That'd be great. Come on to the Big Island, do some, see some beaches away from your beaches.
Yeah. Now, what part of Hawaii are you in, Jen?
So I live on the Big Island of Hawaii, the island that is actually named Hawaii. It is the biggest and the newest island in the island chain. And it's the biggest island, but it's one of the most rural islands. So people think about Hawaii. A lot of times it's Oahu or Honolulu. And that's a completely different island. For those of you that don't know that, Hawaii itself, like the state is called Hawaii, and Hawaii is also one of the islands. And that's the island that I live on. I live on the actual island of Hawaii.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm excited about today's topic.
Yeah.
And I know when you read that, you were like, Sherry, what is this? But I began to think about people, and we all have experienced this in our lives. People that plan, that plot against us, and then they have to receive the repercussions of that in their lives. you know. And when I was thinking about this topic today, I know last week we were saying that we were going to kind of go in the area of fake friends, but it's much bigger than that, because it's not just about fake friends. That was just too shallow. Okay, it was just too shallow. But it really goes to the point of being able to understand the energies of people that are in your life. You know, whether they're friends, whether they're family members, whether they're coworkers, you have to understand and know how to read these energies, because if you don't know how to read the energies, and if you don't understand the energies, it could be detrimental to you. I mean, and that detriment can affect you in your life physically, mentally, trying to go to work and trying to, do your own business and handle your own business. And I hate to say this, but some people never recover from the bad energy in their life, and it takes them to their grave.
Right. And financially, right? Because some people are trying to get over on you financially too.
Exactly. And so that's kind of what our topic is today, you guys, knowing how to recognize, well, no, not knowing, because you can recognize it. It's easy to recognize the bad energy. It really is. It's very easy to recognize the bad energy. What is not easy is knowing how to deal with the bad energy and really having that courage to say and do the things that you need to do to get past this state of being in relationship with somebody who is bringing forth bad energy for you. Jenna, you want to start, or you want me to kind of give my own little?
I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one, and I will just follow suit and give you a little bit of input on my end. I'm actually going to close my slider here because it's real breezy and it's blowing my background. It's getting on my nerves. Hold on.
Okay. So while Jen is going to handle that, I just want to talk about this state of negativity and being around negative people, negative environments, and like she did, and like Jen was talking about, and even the financial piece with this, it's a very stressful environment, an extremely stressful environment when you are in these type of relationships, when you're in these type of situations, again, with family members, with friends, with coworkers. I'm gonna tell you, Jim, my first experience, not my first, but one of my experiences with dealing with people from a negative standpoint, from a job standpoint, I had the most evil, this is when I was public teaching. My principal was so evil. I mean, I couldn't understand how somebody could just wake up and just wanted to be hell in people's lives day in and day out. And it with no cause, just wanting to be hell, wanting to be mean. And I'm going to tell you, one of the signs that I began to experience when I was in that teaching environment that was very, very negative, when I would drive into the parking lot of that school, automatically my stomach would start hurting. And I'm not lying to you. Automatically my stomach would just start hurting. And I'm not saying hurting to the point like I had to throw up or something like that, but it was a numbing, gnawing feeling in my stomach, like, oh my God, I just can't do this anymore. And I remember, being in relationship and the relationship not really going the way that it should go. And when I would hear the garage door go up, let me know that this person had come home, my stomach would start hurting. It was the same type of feeling. And so I want to start there, because I feel like your body begins to take on some of the first signs of when you're in a negative environment. You might receive a headache, a throbbing, like me, my stomach began to hurt. It was just an uncontrollable stress that came over my body first.
Sherry, you are on point. These are things that physiologically that your body goes through when you are having stress, when you're feeling stress. And I feel very fortunate that I haven't experienced that recently, but I've experienced all of those things with a job, in relationships. Hop in the comments. Do you know what she's talking about? Have you experienced these things? hop in the comments and let us know, have you experienced that sensation, that gnawing, like that feeling in the pit of your stomach? Because that's what it is. It's like a gnawing in the pit of your stomach. And and that tension
Yes.
in your body, right? All of a sudden you're like, like you said, it's not nausea. It's just this gnawing feeling, where it nags at you and you're just like on edge when you're like, now I got to go deal with this person.
Yes.
It's like your body's preparing you for this energy.
Yeah, it's like your body is preparing you. But the thing about it is that the feeling, it was like my body knew when I even turned on the street of this school. It was like clockwork. It was
Yep.
like clockwork. It was like my body knew it. And I used to have to sit in the car a minute and just breathe in and breathe out to get the strength to go into this building and go into this place where I knew it was such an evil tension, to the point I used to hate to see the principal just even passing in the hallway to say good morning. I just didn't even want to. I didn't want to visibly see the person.
Toxic. That's
Yes.
what that is. That's a toxic environment brought on by a toxic person that's just like putting that out to the world. And it's just, yeah, I feel you. I absolutely feel you.
And then, we're talking about the negative energy of people and being able to feel it, but it goes beyond that. So I'm not talking about, I want to go past just the presence of negativity and negative people. There are people out there that will think of, in their minds, plots and plans to do against somebody. And that is something I am just so happy that, and I will tell you this, I have not experienced in my lifetime creating plots and plans that I knew were going to hurt or harm somebody. And that's why it always shocks me when I see people who do this, who could create a scenario for someone that they know are going to bring hurt or harm to them, and they carry it out and sit back and watch. I can't understand that mentality, but it happens all the time. Those plots, those plans, when you know that what you're doing is going to bring some type of hurt or some type of harm. And I know we had this show before talking about jealousy, but jealousy is one of the reasons that people do that. When they create plots, when they create plans, when they are carriers of gossip that's not true, to one person to another. All those types of mindsets, all those type of situations that we're talking about, that's negative energy, and it can heavily impact you. I believe the statement, Jen, I know you've heard this before, birds of a feather flock together.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, it was a situation that I'm kind of still dealing with it, but I'm on the back end of this now. I'm on the tail end of this situation. But one thing I noticed in that situation that I dealt with, where I had to deal with a negative person, all of those people that had those same type of energies, those negative energies, they kind of congregated together in that situation. And it's like they needed to be together to gain strength from one another. It's like they couldn't do this planning, this plotting individually. But what they do is they come together collectively as a group, and then the group tries to go. It's like the hyena dogs, how they can't really do anything individually, but right. They try to impact, and in order to conquer their prey, they conquer them in a pack.
Right, it's a pack mentality, absolutely.
So let me just pause for a minute. Any thoughts, any comments? What's your thoughts about what we're saying? Any experiences you had?
Well, I'm waiting for the comments to light up here, but and we appreciate your likes and your hearts. Those are great. Hop in this comment thread. This would be awesome. We want to know that you guys are here. And what is your take on this? Have you experienced this? Have you experienced somebody who is purposely negative You know, some people, what I found is that when people aren't happy with their lives, they want to, pass that off to other people, right? What is it? Misery loves company, right? Misery loves company. So, if they're miserable, they want you to be miserable too. They don't want to see people that are happy. Every once in a while, I think to myself, when I post, good things that are happening in my life, and I'm happy doing stuff with my spouse. And every once in a while, you think to yourself, that there's these people that are on your Facebook page that are just like, ugh. You know what I'm saying? They're just all like, ugh, look at her, like doing her thing again, whatever. Like, ugh, I'm so tired of her posting these pictures, being all happy in Hawaii.
But you know what, Jen? This is the take on that, though. It's not that we're just so happy all the time. What it is that God has taught me how to deal with my valley experiences. And there's a difference.
Absolutely.
I'm just determined that I'm not going to allow any valley experience that I have in my life to take me out of here. I'm going to be happy and I'm going to be in control in my valley experiences, because I know that I'm having this experience for my higher good. And I have to realize, what is this lesson that God is showing me in this? What is this lesson that I have to get in this experience right now? And sometimes, I'm not going to lie to you, some of my valley experiences have paralyzed me. And I had to take the time. And I don't know, if you go back and look at my Facebook, you'll see there's been times where I've had to step away from social media because I had to do some purging and some cleansing with me. I had to do some emotional upkeep. Okay, and housekeeping and spiritual housekeeping for myself. And so there's times where you may have to step back from everybody to recharge your soul, to recharge your spirit. But never get this mistaken. There's not anything anybody can do out there to me that's going to get me to the point that I cannot ever smile again. That's not going to happen.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And see, that's just the thing, is that Facebook in and of itself is a space where, and that's kind of why we talk about what we talk about here. But Facebook is a place where people want to put their best face forward, right? And so it's easy for people to get in their mind that like everything is perfect, and you live the life, and easy for you to say you live in paradise. But don't get it twisted. Like, I have my challenges. A part of why I'm here with Sherry was like one of the biggest challenges in my recent history with the death of a child. So look, I get people looking on and thinking certain things, and maybe they're not in a good space in their life, and they just want to be petty or plot against you or whatever. But the thing is that everybody's going through something. There's a way to be to where you're not petty and vindictive and plotting against somebody, or being fake or all of these things. Okay. None of that is necessary behavior. And Sherry's right. Don't ever think that kind of behavior towards me is gonna like halt me. That's just fuel for my fire, baby. You know what I'm saying? It's like, haters gonna hate. And this is something that somebody said to me. Have you ever seen a hater? Have you ever had a hater that's doing better than you?
Never.
Right? So that's just it. It's like that's something that they have to deal with. And what we need to do is just work on us, realize that Everything happens for a reason. Sherry says it, like I truly believe that everything that happens in my life, good, bad, maybe like devastating, all of these things, I totally believe is meant for my higher good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I love this quote with this statement that Preacher Man Turner made when he says, "Keep calm and control your emotion. Tomorrow will be a better day." And that's so important. I think that's the part that people really mess up. Because, and I'm just telling you from this experience that I've had, especially everybody knows it by now. When I this year coming into 2021, I thought long and hard, Jen, about the post that I was going to put up, because I really believe that how you start is going to be how you're going to finish. And I wanted to go into this year, 2021, exhibiting strength and exhibiting that I am an overcomer, a comer of valley experiences. Even though I still may be going through them, my courage to deal with it and deal with it head on was so important to me. So I posted on my Facebook, and I know some people get so angry, they say, "Don't post your personal business." I did. I posted about my divorce, because I wanted to be free of it. And the thing about it is that you can't talk about areas that you're still in bondage on. See, I'm free from those emotions now, so I can post about it. But at the same time, I was real about what I experienced for 3 years that no one knew about.
Right.
Some people didn't even know all of the experience that I had with that situation, and they were very, very shocked. And so what I had to tell some people, they would call me and say, "Well, you can call me and we can talk through some things." So I had to explain to them I took the time that I needed to deal with those emotions already. What you're seeing now is the person that has overcome those situations. I'm not still in it. So what am I saying for other people right now? We all are going to experience this BS, because that's what it is. You're going to deal with people that have very low energies. And people that have very low energies, they have to congregate together. That's the only way they can bring you down. They have to congregate together. They have to come together. Like Jim was saying, I think you said a pack mentality. They have to have those pack mentalities. But I'm telling you, if your heart is right, if you are living a life that is pleasing to God, if you're doing right by your fellow man, there's nothing these people can do. But this is what I want to go back to, that statement that we just put up there. You have to control your emotions. You're going to feel like you want to do something. You want to feel like you want to call them and cuss them out. You want to feel like you want to flatten their tires. You want to feel like you want to meet them when they come out their house. Yes, that's how you're going to feel. But you really got to put those emotions to the side and really say, you know what? I'm going to let life deal with you. I'm going to let life deal with you.
Absolutely. Because this is huge, is that we are not in control of anything that happens around us. Okay.
No.
All we can do is be in control of how we respond to what happens around us. And that's where our power is. Okay. So a lot of people don't realize that, oh, this happened and that happened and whatever. Those are all outside things that are out of our control, period.
Right.
End of discussion. It's out of your control. But what you do have control about, the things that you can control, is you can control your emotions and your response to what has happened. And that's what makes you, the bigger person. It's not that you don't want to do these things. Trust. I can get pretty creative in my mind about the things that I would like to happen to people. Okay? I can get pretty creative. But I know this is that ultimately I'm in control of my emotions, and they can't do anything about that. And that's another thing that is troubling to people that plot against you. when you rise above that, ooh, girl, does that make them so mad? It makes them so mad. I tell my kids, kill people with kindness. Okay. So when people come at you and they plot against you and they do wrong by you, and you just are above that, and you don't come back and respond in a way that is like yelling and cursing and you'll get yours, or plotting, you know what? You just let it go. There is
But you know what, Jen,
that.
one of the first signs in really realizing if someone is happy. So, for example, like we just talked about, yes, we have valley experiences, we have mountaintop experiences. We've learned to be consistent with our emotions in both arenas. But one of the first signs that I know if somebody is really unhappy is if they are plotting and planning and doing evil to someone else. My thing is this: I'm so happy in my life, regardless of what I'm experiencing right now. It's just such a central place of peace within me. I don't want any harm to happen to anyone. I don't want any, I just, for those that have done wrong to me, I don't care. And I'm not saying it to be disrespectful, but I just don't care what's happening in your life to the point that I don't want any harm to happen to you. But at the same time, it's like, I just want everybody, I'm talking about everybody across the board, to just be okay and live your best life. Mm-hmm. So when you're in that state and you can think of and you can make plots and plans happen towards people that are harmful, especially when you use children to get to people. Oh my God, that's another scenario with this. I have seen so many adults in this past year use children to try to do their evil deeds. I'll never understand evil deeds, period. But to use children as weapon, I've had so many people tell me, and I've experienced this as well, but I've had so many people tell me that, especially those that went through divorce, what have you, how a spouse tried to use a child and turn a child against a parent. One man, he contacted me and he said that his ex-wife had turned his two daughters against him, to the point that the children couldn't even see him. The mother wouldn't allow the children to see the dad. This is when they were babies. It wasn't until the children turned 18 that they were able to have a relationship with their father. And now those same two children, they live with the dad and they hate the mother. They hate the mother for what they did. And this is what I'm trying to tell people. When you plot and when you have all these plans against bringing deceptiveness towards somebody's life, there are, like we have in our title, there's repercussions for that. You do not get away with that. The energy that you put out is the same energy that you're going to receive back. And I'm here to tell you, baby, and it comes with a double dose.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's what they say, you get what you give tenfold.
Yeah.
So, if that's the kind of behavior that you're carrying on, like, I'm here to tell you, don't get it twisted. It will come back to you in some way, shape, or form. So, I do my best to put good out into the world, so I get more of that, and kindness out into the world, so I get more of that. That's what I want in my life. And you just have to pray for the people that are plotting. You have to pray for the people that are plotting against you and planning against you and want harm to come to you.
So Jen, there are types of negative energy that I want us to kind of deal with. Because I think we did a great job in kind of giving an overview of experiences that people may have. But these are specific areas that I would like people to hone in. First of all, let's talk about the different types of negative energy that you can deal with, whether you realize it or not. One is what we talked about earlier, is dealing with negative people. You guys, you can sense negative people when you walk into a room. You don't even have to say anything. You don't. And Jen, I know you've experienced that, too, that you could walk into a room where you don't know anyone in there. You can sense the person that's negative. You can sense
I've always kind of been the kind of person that's like, I like most everybody. I get good vibes about everybody, but every once in a while, you get that vibe. Like, I don't know what I can't put my finger on it, but something's amiss here.
That's right. You can just feel it. Yeah. So with negative people, the other one is going into negative environments. There are some environments that you just should not be in. A negative environment could be like an environment where a lot of people are sitting around gossiping and talking badly about someone. You shouldn't be in an environment like that. That's a negative environment. A negative environment is a place that is not clean. That is a negative environment because you're not going to feel right in an environment that is very nasty. So you have to think about, we're talking about these negative environments. It could be different characteristics of a negative environment. It could be, a very uncomfortable dentist office, where the tools may not be clean and you're getting this sense that, oh God, maybe I shouldn't let them work on my teeth right now because I see all this filth over there. But this is what it looks like. Am I not? This is the truth, isn't it?
Yeah. Like you go to somebody's house and it looks like an episode of Hoarders and you're like,
yeah, and look, and they say, would you like something to drink? No, thank you.
This is why my husband doesn't like potlucks. He was like, I just have these visions of people like the cat lady, and you go to her house and like the cats are like traipsing around the counters.
Say no thank you. In fact, I don't even want bottled water. No thank you. Nothing. So another negativity, a negative space, and I know people are going to be shocked about this, but it is very, very harming, and that's negative self-talk. Not believing in yourself. Not believing in yourself, you guys. That is creating a space of negativity.
Right in your own head, which is like the worst place.
Yeah. When you have a goal, and you look at a goal, and you be like, and you may say, I don't think I'll be able to do that. See, already you have created this negative space. You have created the negative space. Whatever your mind can conceive, you can achieve. And I believe that. I'm telling you, when I took on that task, and everybody I've told, they thought out it was just an unbelievable task. And I even posted it on my Facebook. I said, I'm going to get licensed in 3 different states, and I'm going to be a real estate instructor in 3 different states, and I'm going to open my own company. Jen, when I set out and I was taking all of those tests and I did that, yes, it was very horrific. It was an area that I had to sacrifice. And so this is what I'm saying, where I was in my life and really trying to, hunker down and do what I needed to do to pass bunker down and do what I needed to do to take all of these tests. I could not have negativity around me because I was already in a space whereas I had to stay as positive as I could because I was bringing on, and it was stress, but it was a good stress. There is a difference between a good stress and a negative stress. So me studying and doing everything that I needed to do, that was a good stress, but I didn't have any room for any negativity to come into my life. And that was one of the worst periods because that's when negativity flooded me. And I was trying to study and do what I needed to do. And the only thing I kept saying to myself is, Sherry, if you can just stay focused, serious, just stay focused, keep your eyes on the prize. Yes, you hear all this noise on the outside. You see all this noise. You see all these people plotting and planning. Just stay. Whatever you have to do to keep your eyes on the prize. And I had to say that I had to talk to myself for a whole year. Now, on the other side of that, I have license. I'm licensed now in all 3 of those states. I'm a real estate instructor now in all 3 of those states. And I'm about to drop a big announcement that everybody doesn't know yet that I just found out last week. So what am I saying? And it's not that I'm bragging, but what I'm telling you is that I've had tunnel vision. I was determined I was going to stay focused, and I had negativity swirling around me on every level, in every which way. So, and I know when God talks about just keep your eyes focused on me, that's what you have to do. You have to keep your eyes focused so that higher energy, that positive energy, staying, tapped into your higher self and not allowing that negative energy. And I think you said it earlier, Jim, when you said let the negativity and the negative energy fuel you. I think you said that earlier.
Yeah, I did. Let it fuel you. Let it be your fuel. I mean, don't take that on and let it overcome you, for sure. Like I just don't let that do. I just won't. And I really do feel like when people come at you or situations that are negative, you really do just have to just center yourself, push that to the side, and overcome. Because once you overcome, and it might be, I think it's easier to describe when it actually is a person. But when you can overcome that without being petty, or anything like that towards the person that's throwing shade your way,
right.
It really, really does speak to them. I think it does speak to them because they can see, well, look, I'm throwing all these wrenches. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And it's not phasing them.
Right.
And so maybe you can be an example for somebody. Maybe that will be a lesson to them.
Now, you know what, that takes me into the next step of this, because the next stage of this, because if you are in this negative space that we just talked about, or you go into negative environments, or you're around negative people, you can begin to take on their negativity and not even realize it. And so now let me talk about some of the signs, Jen, that are signs that you now are in this negative space with these negative people. One of the signs is you become very critical of other people. You begin to criticize other people. Okay. And so that's one of the signs right there. And so if you think about negativity and negative people, that's one thing that they do. They're very critical. They criticize a lot. Nobody or nothing is good for them. Okay. And so that's one of the signs. And another sign is that you begin to complain a lot. Complainers. That's a sign that you are now taking on negative energy. My thing is that I don't ever like to complain about anyone or anything, because I'm always trying to be solution oriented, or I'm trying to be proactive. Whereas I'm always thinking, well, what is the worst that can happen in this situation so it doesn't go belly up? What do we have to do to make sure we keep the positive vibes going here? And so this is what you're thinking about. So the being, again, criticizing, complaining a lot, that's a sign. Those are a couple signs that you're around some negative energy, and your health could possibly start suffering from it.
That's true. And, I don't ever want to be that person that complains. And I don't actually ever believe in complaining. So I'm the kind of person, like, if you don't like it, what can you do to fix it? Right? Like, don't complain to me. Do not, I cannot, I can't fathom. Like, so somebody who's like, I hate that I'm overweight and whatever. Well, what is it going to take for you to not feel that way? Like, if you feel overweight, like what things can you do so that you don't feel overweight, or that you don't feel sluggish, or for me, it's all about decisions. Like, take responsibility and make decisions. Don't complain. Don't complain. If you want to do something about it, you'll do something about it. Complaining doesn't ever fix anything. And when I don't know, for me, I live a life of gratitude. I'm never going to complain about anything. I'm just not, because that's not gratitude. Like, complaining is not gratitude. It is the opposite of gratitude.
One thing I can't ever understand, though, as people, especially those that call themselves in relationship with someone else, I can't understand how people who are in relationship, like, when I hear you talk about you and your husband, and I will tell you, the relationship that I'm in right now, it's very fulfilling for me. It really, really is. It's not draining. It's not straining. It doesn't strain me. It's very calming for me, and it doesn't pull on me.
Mm-hmm.
But what I can't understand is people that call themselves in relationship and happy. Where do you still want to be evil to other people? I don't get it. If you're in a very happy and content space. And I'll never understand that. I'll never understand that if a person is truly happy, why would in their happy state with this other person or being linked up with someone else, would they even think about doing something to someone else from a negative standpoint? So my question is, it's really this right here. Can a true happy person, a person that is truly happy, can they really have those feelings of wanting to hurt or bring harm to someone else? Or is that really showing us that that person possibly is not really truly happy?
I think it's a telling sign that they're not truly happy, because happy people don't do that. Happy people don't do that. You don't
Right.
have time to do that. You don't even have the negativity in your person to do that when you're happy. Right? So somebody who is putting on airs about how happy they are, but they're behaving in a negative fashion, talking trash or gossip or anything like that, that person's not truly happy. And that's my opinion. That person's not truly happy. How can you be truly happy? How can you be a truly happy person, but still be throwing shade and being petty and things like that? Happy people don't do that.
And I will say this, happy people are solution oriented. And I think you were
Absolutely
alluding to that earlier when you were saying that I'm trying to always think of the solutions to something. And that's one thing that I'm seeing. People that are truly happy, they really don't want any type of issues or problems with people. They're always trying to come to a solution on how can we resolve this. Don't get me wrong. I do know that sometimes things can be so cutting and so hurting that sometimes you do need to just give me a little space. But even in wanting your space, you can do that in a respectful way. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be ugly. You don't have to be cutting. You can just say, listen, I know we had our little issues and our little problems. I'm trying to just work through right now. I'm just in a very sensitive space. Just give me a little time to kind of work through this. And then we'll see in the future if we can kind of sit down and have that needed conversation to work through it. But just being backbiting and ugly and, oh my goodness gracious, I don't understand where the energy comes from. I just really cannot do it. I cannot.
I feel you.
I hate to see it done.
Well, and I've left situations like that, like you talked about your job. Like I had a job like that. And, it's happened a couple times where I was in a situation like that at my place of employment, where it just like, oh gosh, it just didn't feel good to go into work, and I was like, what's going to happen today? You're always just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, oh, like that feeling like somebody just has it in for you.
Yes, that's the feeling that somebody has it in for you.
Yeah. And it's an awful feeling. So I get that. And the thing about it is I really feel like things like that are brought into your life for a reason. And when things like that happen, I look at it now, that hindsight is 2020, but I can look back at that now and just realize that that's God's way of telling me to move on. That my time here is done, that he has something bigger and better waiting for me, and that my time here is done. And sometimes we need those, right? We need that little nudge because we get a little too comfortable someplace. And God has a bigger, something bigger and better out there waiting for us. And, we get stagnant and comfortable. And, like a couple times for me, I was like, oh, this job is so easy and it's so this and it's so that. I'm going to stay here forever. But that wasn't for my higher good. So whatever needed to happen to get me to move on had to happen.
Yeah. But you know what, Jen? It takes courage when you get to that spot, though. When you get to that point that you're talking about,
right?
That's where you're at the fork in the road. And you have to decide which way you're going to go. Are you going to go left or you're going to go right? And sometimes going to the right means that some people may not be able to make that turn with you. I'm a firm believer, and I know people, used to say this, and it's such a cliche that people are in your life for a season and a reason and all that, all those reasons that we talk about. Mm-hmm. But that is so true. It's true. When I tell you that is so true, where you are going in life, some people can't go. They simply cannot go with you. They can't handle that level that you're going to next. They can't handle it. They couldn't handle it when you were at this level. Mm-hmm. How they gonna try to handle it if you were at that level? If they didn't respect you when you were at this level, when you were working and going to school and trying to make stuff happen for you, and they were still being negative at this level, when God brings you to that level, they still gonna be hateful and negative or what have you, but God is gonna give you more responsibility. God is, the more responsibility God gives you, the more, what was that? I'm saying the wrong one, but I'm trying to remember what that little saying is, that the more God
with great power comes great responsibility.
There it is. Okay, that's right. I know it's a scripture that talks about that as well. I just can't remember it right now, but everybody understand what I'm trying to say. But you do, with great power, you get great responsibility. Okay, and so what I'm saying here is that people that are with you here, if they are being negative, if they're being backbiting, if they're gossiping, if they're being hateful towards you, if they're causing you to be sick on your stomach, if you feel as though you're in a constant battle with them, back and forth, if you're arguing over stupid stuff, they can't go with you to the next level. But what happens is that you sacrifice your dreams at that next level for this person that's down here, and you just go in a corner now. And you just live day in and day out with this person that has constantly kept you at a level where you can't grow, where you can't live, where you can't get the promises that God has promised to all of us. You can't get that. What am I saying? I'm not saying cut everybody out of your life. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying kick everybody to the curb or to a corner. But what I am saying is that you make those people realize that, listen, I want good for myself. I want the best that I can have for me. I want you to be in my life, and I want you to be included for what I see that I am capable of and where I'm capable of going. But I can't have you in this season. I can't have you where I'm going if you can't support, if you can't be a positive person in my life, if you can't give me constructive criticism, because we were talking about that earlier, Jen, right? It's not just being critical, but if you're giving me constructive criticism, I mean, it's like when you and I got started, there were several times where you had to say, Sherry, no, do it like this. You're doing it wrong. Even with that Ethernet cord. Remember, I said, Jen, I can't get it in. And you had to calm me down. You said, Sherry, listen, all computers have it. Just fine. You had to kind of walk me through. So what I'm trying to say is, if a negative side had grabbed me and said, no, she don't know what she's talking about, that cord doesn't go into my computer, that wouldn't have been good for you or myself, and it would have prevented us from being able to really possibly have a good relationship and doing tough talk with it the way that we needed to do it. So what I'm saying, you guys, there's a such thing as constructive criticism and how you deliver information that needs to be delivered to somebody so they can grow.
Right. Yeah, and the thing about it is that like she said, everybody can't go with you, and sometimes it's hard to let go of those relationships, and sometimes that's what needs to happen. I know that that's hard. That can be hard because maybe it's a family member, maybe it's somebody who's been a lifelong friend, But the thing is that you do have to make choices sometimes. And when you offer up the ability for them to come with you, that's all you can do. You can offer up the ability for them to come with you. But you can't stay in a space just to be with somebody. And because if you feel like you've got growing to do and you've got places to go, and it's true, just everybody isn't going to come with you. And so you don't necessarily need to cut ties with people like that. But the thing is that you're going to be spending less and less time with people like that, because people that are in your same space, as far as energy, right? And this is what we're talking about. We're talking about energy here. I'm not talking about like, oh, they don't make enough money or they don't. It's not status. This isn't about status. This is about energy and positivity and growth. But when you start elevating yourself as far as your energy is concerned, right? You're going to start surrounding yourself with like-minded, energetic people.
Yes.
And so those people that aren't on that same level of energy they're just not going to be able to keep up. It's like you're scuba diving, okay, and you've got all the equipment, right? So you can go deep and dive deep, and and they've got a snorkel. And you're like, well, all I can do is see what's up here. And you're like, oh, it's so amazing down here. All you got to do is go get yourself scuba certified. And you can come down here and see all the things that I'm seeing. And they're like, nah, this is good.
This is true. I'm telling you, this is such a very passionate topic, especially, for me. And when I was when I began to do just a little bit more research on how do people come out of a negative space, when I looked at some of the areas, Jen, that a person needs to hone in on to come out of a negative space, it was literally everything that I did. First of all, they said that you needed to get enough sleep. And that's one thing I tried to make sure that I did then, and I still do now. I want to make sure that my body is well rested, because that energy allows me to deal with whatever I have to deal with in that next day. So that was so important. And I understand that connection there, because some people might say, oh, get enough sleep, but you have to understand how deep this is. You have to be well rested in order to deal with these energies. You do. You have to be mentally rested and physically rested, because it'll help you think through and how to tackle someone that's negative. And it's hard to do that when you're groggy and when you're sleepy. Okay.
Or fuzzy, right? Because if you're not rested, you're fuzzy.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. You don't know what to say and how to say it. The next thing they said that you needed to do was have a good diet. And that was another thing that I started to do. I really started to watch what I ate. And, they tell you all the time to really watch the fast foods and the processed foods. And I feel like that is so true, because it begins to make you weigh down, as opposed to eating fresh, eating fresh as much as you can. Don't get me wrong. I love a Burger King burger. I got that. But I'm not doing Burger King every day. I'm not doing it. And if I do it, it's like here or there, but it's not an everyday thing where I'm really focused and conscious about what I'm drinking and what I'm eating. And it really does have an effect on your mental. And then the last thing was the sleep, what you're eating and you're drinking, and then the company that you keep. The company that you keep. That is so important. You have to, and I'm so protective of my space. When I tell you I'm so protective of my space that, my kids kid me all the time, because there's some phone calls I won't accept, and there's some people that I will not allow around me. I just won't, and my kids know it. And my kids have kind of like stepped in the place of kind of being a barrier for me, like a protective barrier, because I'm doing so much now with other people that I take what my responsibility is for these other people. I take it very seriously. And I know that if I'm not right, I'm affecting somebody's household. because this person is depending on me to lead them right. So they're making good and wise decisions for their life financially. They don't want a leader who's all messed up in the head. I really want to take this seriously because I know that this is the level that God has promoted me to. And I don't want God to be upset with me that I didn't take his blessing seriously.
Right. Well, and it comes with that, with great power comes great responsibility. Like you are in a position to where you are leading others. You're an instructor. And so you need to be able to lead by example, and you can have all that garbage, you can't, because like you said, you're assuming responsibility for other people's livelihoods.
Right.
And, and so it's good that you figured that out and how not to, negatively impact other people,
That's
and we have to start with ourselves. So, wow, the hour is almost over. You see what time it is?
But listen, this is the last one, and we're going to end this out. And I wanted to say the best for last, but they said that that you're in this right space when you want to spend more time in nature. And you and I have really done that over and over. I literally just came from the beach. I mean, like literally right before we came on.
Because that's nice.
Yeah, because
I haven't been out of the house yet. It's just 10 o'clock, just coming on 10 o'clock now. But
I'm
we were talking about that. We're going to get out today and enjoy the day. It's just beautiful. And I don't know, how can we not? Like, it's just so amazing.
It is when you can appreciate, and I talk about this all the time, the beauty of a sunset. Oh my goodness. The beauty of a sunset. It's unbelievable. And so this is what I'm saying. Everybody has access to this. You have access to trees. You have access to a lake somewhere, or water or a stream or something somewhere. You have access to this. You have access to the stars at night. You have access to the moon. You'll be surprised if you just focus there, get you something nice to drink, and just sit out on your balcony and just look at the twilight of the moon and rest your mind, appreciating nature. That helps center you as well. Oh my God, Jim, we flew through an hour. Can you believe it?
Yes, girl. Yes, I can believe it.
This is a good topic. I didn't think it was going to turn out like this.
Well, you know what though? I mean, it just comes easy, when it's like you have experienced these things and come out the other side. It's easy to talk about, and so I encourage anybody who watches this, if you joined us live, thank you so much for joining us live. But I hope that people get value out of this in the replay. Get in there, get in those comments and let us know, like, what have you experienced and what have you learned about, people that maybe are not negative or negative, negative spaces, all of those things. And how did you overcome those situations, those people, those locations? How did you manage that? Let us hear from you, okay?
Yeah. So listen, everybody, remember to follow us on all social media platforms, Tough Talk 911. Don't forget, we have our Cash App that is scrolling below there. I always do that the wrong way. Let me do it that way. So you have our Cash App, Tough Talk 911. We thank you for any donations that you give. No donation is too small. I promise you that. But we just thank you for anything that you would want to give. This platform that Jen and I really just birthed from the center of our souls. And as you to hear our story, one day we just want to talk about our story and how we met. Because it's everything is unbelievable, but I know that we have been positioned here because, like I said before, we have worked hard to get to this space that we're in. Her and myself have experienced very, very serious situations in our lives. And we've been able to now look at that from another side. Not saying it still wasn't penetrating, not saying it still doesn't sting or hurt from time to time, but we've been able to learn how to manage those emotions to the point that it fuels us, as Jen said earlier.
Absolutely. So, I'm not quite sure. Oh, yeah. So we were talking about what we were going to get into next week. I think were we going to do stepchildren, like the relationship
Yes.
between step parent, stepchild?
Yes.
Awesome. So that's what we're going to get into next week. We hope that you will join us. If you know somebody who would like to hear this conversation, please invite them. That would be amazing. The more people, the better. And I guess we'll see you next Sunday.
Bye, Jen.
Bye, Sherry. Until then, aloha.
Bye-bye.